What's going on? What's poppin', Quantumaniacs? It is Tuesday, February the 10th. We are here, and today is first day over a series of days where I come to you, a humble man. I'm back, man. I'm getting in rhythm. If you're tuning in live, please like and subscribe. If you're listening to this on whatever podcast network you choose, find me, Quality Sports, on YouTube because that's where we make the donuts. I am excited, nervous, got a little fear in me, and a whole bunch of other emotions, but we're going for it. That's the narrative for this year. I'm emptying the clip. I don't know how much time we got left. I don't know how much time this world has left. And as I've been saying on the various podcasts and shows that I've been on, might as well do something for yourself while the whole world's on fire. And that's what I'm doing. I'm emptying the clip. Been telling you guys that, for the last 2 years, I've been having the time of my life, and I never felt this way before. It's been pretty good. I sold out 2 showings of my feature documentary, The Beast of Final Fight. We're just sitting and waiting, man. It's the waiting is the hardest part. And one of the things that I was hip to when I came out here was just making it. I came out here for several reasons, but making it was numero uno. I started profile. This is the first thing I wrote down. This movie's going to change my life. And for me, and all my forward thinking, I'm thinking financially, of course, because why wouldn't I? But, it kind of did something different. Instead of living a glorious financial life, it gave me perspective. One thing that I was really bad at, I was a bad interviewer. And I saw that, like, watching profile over and over again and just trying to guide things instead of listening and having a good conversation, which is one of the things that these couple of degrees that I have always pointed me to, is that just have a conversation and listen to people, and that's where the story is. And editing profile took me a really long time to get to that. And I finally got a chance to get there when I finished it in 2022. It is up on the channel right now. A few people have watched it. I appreciate you for that. If you can, watch my mini documentary about my time growing up playing football and my journey to this very point. It's important. If it's not important to anybody else, it's important to me. And I think that's another one of the key takeaways is, I've always done something in the, I guess my motivation has always been for somebody else, and now I can't really feed off that anymore because I don't really have anybody else. Nobody sees the vision. Nobody, well, I can't say nobody. Like, I have the people that I've been doing this for, like my family, people closest to me, to somehow, escape poverty as the notion. I don't have them anymore. This time last year I got laid off, and I was sitting and waiting for this movie to kind of take off, and It takes a little longer than a couple of months, as I'm finding out firsthand. But I was sitting and waiting, looking for jobs, trying to find funding to get things with the film done, and I couldn't find anybody to give me a job. I couldn't find funding, but we got the funding handled. So, over the course of the next 2 months, I was looking for a job. And I had a bright idea, here's a way to kind of invest in myself and get my family involved. And I asked them to do dinners. Like, they cook and pass out plates, try like a little fundraiser. And it went exactly as I expected it to go. It lasted one time, actually. It didn't even last the whole day. My mom and my grandma got in an argument. And I can only assume it was over money, and I can only assume it was over a small amount of money. And I got on the phone with them. My mom said, I'm not doing this again. I quit. I don't want to do it anymore. And I was just like, all right. And I blocked both their numbers. And it's been like that for the last year. Like, my grandma got another phone number and she changed hers. But I haven't really been in contact with them. And I think it's going to stay that way. Probably forever. I don't have time for ego. I don't have time for bullshit. I don't have time for minor things. One of the things that was overly discussed in profile and interviewing both of them was how much like my granddad I am. And I never met the man, only read things about him. My aunt told me a few stories. He was a chemist, a professor at high school, and my aunt was the first. I just learned this a couple years ago. She was the first black cheerleader in her school, and she crossed she's a real important figure in the civil rights movement, which is like one of the things that you would think people in the family would talk about that more, and we would have known that a little more. But I just learned that like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And, my granddad was instrumental in that. But one of the things that my mom and my grandma told me about was his affinity for work and workahol. And he's a workaholic. And you need to stop working so hard. And that's their only solution to anything that I do is don't work so hard. And why don't you take a break? Or why don't you quit? And it's not conducive to what I'm trying to do, which is not be confined to just a room for the rest of my life. And in that same time, I went home in 2024 for the holiday. I was headed home to get prepared for the second showing of The Beast of Final Fight in Butler. So I went home in December of 2024, and it's just one of those things where you just kind of recognize, man, I was born in chaos. Their schedule is as follows. They wake up at 6:20. They yell at each other, call each other fat MFers, threaten to kill each other. Then by 7, everything's died down. They make some breakfast. One listens to stories. The other turns on the news. Then they get into YouTube conspiracies. Yell at each other at around 11. Take a little nap. Come back. Yell at each other around 4. eat dinner, come back, yell at each other around 9, and we do it all over again. And it's the same pattern. It's been the same pattern for forever, and it'll always be the same pattern. And that's what I learned last year through, those few experiences, is that the things that I was doing this for, the change that I wanted in my family, it was it was just a figment of my imagination. Like, when I left home in 2004 to go to college, the goal was to make it to the league and be able to provide. And then there'd be this miracle turnaround for my family. We would all come closer. It would be like the movie or the sitcom family or the ESPN family, the happily ever after that I wanted. And it was a fallacy. It was never going to come to fruition, and it never will. And I think a lot of what we're seeing now with America waking up and becoming woke is that you you have to accept the reality. And the reality is that everything fucking sucks. You can work your hardest, you can try your damnedest, but real is real, and the ideas that you contemplate are just a figment of your imagination. So, you know, when I started Brian's project and we got to somewhat of a finish line, my grandma called me. She was like, why'd you wait till I was 80 years old to figure this shit out? And it was funny. It's a funny line at the time. It's still funny. Brian laughs about it all the time, but you know, it's one of those things where everything came to me when it was supposed to, and that's kind of been the bad news, I guess, of the last year, is that my reality was never what was in my head. It was always in front of me. But such is life, and we got to keep moving. I am excited about the future. I'm emptying the clip. One of the things that I did when I started Brian's story was, trying to actualize all of these goals and ideas that I have, and living the dream, and doing what I can do. And it started with his project. It was a project that I abandoned because I didn't know what to do with it. I was a bad storyteller. I didn't have things in place. I didn't have money. I didn't have an idea of what I could do. And then I just got so desperate and so tired that I just went to work. My mom said something to me last year. She was like, "I'm stuck." And I asked her, what are you going to do about being stuck? Says, "Nothing I can do." And that's the feeling that I've had for the majority of my life. I've had to go above and beyond mediocrity all of my life. And it's given me creative ways to get out of being stuck. And that's why we're here today. It's because I'm tired of being stuck. The world's falling apart, and I can't just keep doing the same things. I've been on this cycle for the last 4, 8, I don't know what it is, but every February I get pushed out the nest, and something big happens, or something that alters the trajectory of my life. In 2021, if you watch Profile, it was getting a job at Best TV. I was down bad for real. I was just got played something nasty, and I didn't really have anything going. And one of my friends sent me a tweet. Boom. I'm a TV producer. I'm working. I'm getting paid. I got a car. I got an opportunity to produce, and it all ended in December of that same year. And when I was looking for a job last year, boom, you know, one of my old boss there, he reached out to me, said, I got something for you again. And going through the paces, producing shows, getting paid, and it all ended in December. Again, February of 21 was blinded by Satan, the devil, whatever. And it ended abruptly. And it's a recurring theme for something in February around Valentine's Day to happen. So, you know, it's it's a lot to kind of process because I recognize patterns a lot. So, after that happened, I got Best TV in February. So, you know, this ended in December. My last job, my last gig I had, and I'm waiting for the magic to happen. I'm waiting for the magic to show up, but I'm going to be a little proactive this time and bring to you the Qwanathon. Listen, we are at where are we at on the Qwanathon? It's I told you in December I got an email. Somebody saw me on Let's Make a Deal, and they wanted to make a deal. That's why you've been seeing me post frantically, kinetically, everywhere for the last month or so. And it's directly linked to the Qwanathon and this email that I got. I am in need of your help. I need you to watch my stuff. That's it. Share it, like it. Like, it's tough being a creator and reading the analytics because, you know, when you're trying to do something, it seems like nobody's there. But, I got people that watch and support, and it's not the people that I want it to be, but it's the people that I care about, and that's what's important to me. And I'm always looking out for who it is because I'm going to make sure I pay them back tenfold. And that's what all of this is. It's I will never claim to be a self-made man. I've got a lot of help. The only reason I keep going is because I owe everybody and their mama, and I mean that literally. So, I'm emptying the clip with the Qwanathon. If you're watching this, if you see this, like, subscribe, share. I'm looking for the best Quantumaniac, the greatest Quantumaniac, because there is something that I will give to that Quantumaniac. I'm looking for a certain amount of number at the end of this year to get to my goal. I can't talk about what was in the email I can't do or inform anybody of anything. I can only say that I have to hit a certain number. So I need you. I need your help. You. You out there in YouTube land. I'm going to create content. I'm going to keep my head down. I got to get to work. But first, I got to show you some merch.
What's up, dudes? Quan Hogan here with the greatest offer ever, brother. Check out the merch and become a Quantumaniac. We got shirts in all colors, brother. We got a red shirt, brother. We got a yellow shirt, brother. We got a white shirt, brother. We got a blue. It comes in all sizes. Small, medium, large, extra large, extra, extra large, extra, extra, extra large. What you gonna do when the Quantumaniacs run wild on you?
What you gonna do, brother? So tap in, man. If you got a Quantum Maniac shirt, wear it, post it, tag me in it. I need a significant boost. I don't want this to seem like I'm reaching for my last. I'm on minute 14 of my 15 minutes. I think I can sustain and do a lot more with a lot more time and a lot more money if I had it. Not even a lot more. Like that's been one of the things that I was also hip to is like I'm gonna shoot my first feature film this and then hopefully within the next 3 years. And it's about my story. It's about profile. And my biggest thing has always been, okay, how am I going to pay for all this and make it work? And it's never been a thought before in anything that I do. For me, it's always just do it and you'll worry about the finances later. You know, I went to college and I don't know how, but we paid for it. Like I got a scholarship. It was some spots that was missing that we had to get to work for. I had to work for myself, but we got there, and it's a shock to me that I got 3 degrees. I just kept figuring it out, and I wanted to play football as a kid, and I needed 40 bones. My mom did it. She didn't want me to play, but I got it from her, and it just kept progressing into me needing money to play football and train and work out and do all these things, and I got it done. I found a way around it, and then it was about me chasing the NFL dream after college, and I did it. I played in the All Star game. I played arena for 8 years, and I chased it. I drove to work or I drove to practice 2 hours. Drove practice, drove back 2 hours. You know, it if it's important, you'll find a way. And me getting out of this situation, me getting unstuck, is very very important. So I'm I can't let the absence of finances hold me back. And that's what the Qwanathon is about. That's what the Qwanathon is for. And I'm excited. I need to get back talking football and sports in general, man. It's about to be draft season, and I really hate draft season. Not from a personal perspective, but all the bullshit that's out there. Like we're gonna talk about it. All the evaluations and stuff you see, and who actually has what it takes to make it. And you got to lay out the steps too, because I'm hoping there are a bunch of kids watching that they find this and they don't think they can make it. Well, I believe in you. If you want it, if you work hard enough, you can get there. And I got there off of just anger and frustration. So if you want it, you can get there, and let me be your North Star. I'll guide you there, do whatever I can to help. And speaking of that, I need your help. I need you to watch Profile. It's on my channel right now. I think we're at about 20 views. I need you to like it. I need you to subscribe to the channel. I need you to help me get to where I need to get to, because I got a lot of revenge I'm trying to get out here, and I don't want it to be revenge where I have to fuck you up. I want it to be the success is the best revenge because I am this close to a crash out, completely throwing my life away for nothing. It's if you look at the prospects, you look at what's going on outside, I think it's kind of justified. That's bad news for the TPS guys. Um, but yeah, man, profile is an extension of the draft process. I'm gonna start working on this film, and I think it's what I wanted profile to be. Like I said, I was a bad, very bad storyteller, and I wanted my movie to do more. And it's hard seeing yourself as a subject and telling the story in a way that is captivating, entertaining, anything. And that was one of my first. That was the first time I actually put a story together narratively, and it's not as bad as I make it. It's not as bad as I think. I just can't get outside of myself and seeing myself talk about me. But like I said, man, the movie changed my life. That was one of the first things I wrote down. That when I started doing that and sitting at the computer and looking in the mirror and you know trying to change who I was overall, because everybody talks about this male loneliness epidemic, and it's some shit that you probably thrust upon yourself. Like, I isolate. I don't feel like being bothered with people. I don't have the energy to put into things anymore. I'm just so drained from working all the time, or I'm thinking about escaping this bullshit that I got going on. It's frustrating, the life that I live, but I picked it, and I could be in a completely total different situation. It could be dire. It could be better if I made better decisions. I can't just say, you know, fuck TPS, because I played a part in that too. And it's one of those things where I wasn't protecting myself. I haven't protected myself. I let a lot of people, organizations take advantage of me because, I was just so eager to produce and be heralded for my work. And it's ruined a lot. A lot of relationships. Physically, I'm hurting. I can't do the stuff that I used to in the manner that I used to do it because I'm just tired. So, um, you know, it is what it is. We here now, and you gotta be forward thinking, and I'm thinking forward. So if you can watch Profile, share it with your friends, share it with the nephew. I'm gonna do a lot more with football and talking about how to be a better football player. Football kind of stinks right now, man, and it's something that I've been saying for the last few years. The game is completely different from when I played, and it's a lot that needs to be learned. And if you learn it from anybody, I hope it's from me or someone who's at least knowledgeable. And it's fun. It's fun to talk about, but I played other sports too. If you didn't see yesterday, I posted Viper Man at Bat. It's a story about me going to the Portland Pickles Melonheads game. The I think it was one in 2023. Uh, it's a little fun story, but it's leading up to my mini documentary on Joes versus Pros. I played in two of the games. 5 Points Vids, who set it up, and the Diamond on YouTube, Connor Turner, they kind of set it up, and it's been this reoccurring thing that a lot of YouTubers have played in, want to play in, starting to get noticed. But it's an opportunity to play baseball, man. I love baseball. Baseball was the first sport I played. I was supposed to be a pitcher, ended up being a catcher. You know, turned that into a whole thing. Played some summer ball after college instead of working out for football. But it's fun, man. And if you can check out Viper Man at Bat, I'll cut up a sneak preview and we'll play it on the show tomorrow. And you know, that's it, man. If you see my at bat last year, I got it in here. We'll do baseball and stuff tomorrow. But it's always been a part of the plan to kind of empty out the clip and do everything. I came out here. A lot of people don't know this in 2019. I just posted Teo, the mini documentary that I did for Alex Teo, Hong Kong football legend, superstar, played in the Chinese Super League in all three divisions. I think when they won it, I forgot what it's called, but they won the Super League championship in all three divisions. So I met him when he saw one of my videos. He tore his ACL. I think it was around 2014 or 15, and he saw one of my videos online when I was working at Revolution Physical Therapy, Physio Gym Physical Therapy out in Pittsburgh. And I met the owner when I was playing indoor football. And, the reason I came out here in 2019 was for the simple fact that he was like, hey, yo, man, I'm going to interview. I got Ronda Rousey. I'm going to do a rehab. And, I got on the first thing smoking. And I didn't believe him at first. I was like, whatever. But he sent me a picture, and I said, oh, yeah, we in there. So I came out after I got back from Hong Kong. And, well, here's a little look. Well, where's your cauliflower here?
Ha 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 ha. I'm just a tennis player. I'm just a doctor that looks like a cross-country runner.
That's generous.
Huh?
That's generous.
Relax. That's what I said to somebody the other day. I was like, people think I'm a fucking cross-country runner.
I give you the chest. I think you're part of chess club.
Chess club, yeah, right, yeah, exactly.
Gotta start messing around with your ears, man.
I'll help you out.
Yeah, right?
Just haven't had a real roll. No one's really rolled you up.
I haven't got fucked up enough yet.
You haven't got fucked up enough, man. Someone's gonna fuck you up.
It was a cool experience, man, because I met Rhonda and Travis, filmed her a bunch of times. She was cool about it. And, it's one of those things where I look back at my resume and I got a lot of names on there. And, before I did the Super Bowl show, I had everything planned out. I filmed it, recorded it, did the audio, everything, and my task cam failed me. It was out of focus. My picture was out of focus, so I was gonna re-record it, and then my task cam failed me. And it's like the only thing that my professor really taught me that stuck with me, not the only thing, but the main thing is that this job is about troubleshooting, and I know alternatives. I can get out of any mess and any jam, and that's applicable to life. And it's where I'm at right now. I'm in a jam. I got to troubleshoot this and get out of it. And it's cool to know that I picked the right career path. No matter how down I am about, the situation or how dire it becomes, I got out of it before. I'm going to get out of it again. I'll get out of it next time. And, that was the story. But, when I came out here in 2019, it's kind of living proof that, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. That's when Dolomite is my name came out. And I was sitting, he got me when I was working with him, he got me a condo on the beach. And in between, the break between working in the morning and working in the evening, I watched Dolomite is my name. And, it's a monologue in there with Eddie Murphy that was really good. Just when did my life get so small? I came out here with big dreams and big plans, and, it feels like a joke. I want people to tune in and listen to me, and I just haven't gotten there. And it's nothing new. It's not gonna stop me, but it feels. I got those feelings of being overlooked again, and he in the movie they came up with this idea to like he completed the movie and he was just sitting on it. He was like, "What am I gonna do with this?" And he got the idea to four wall it, which is to put his movie in theaters, rent the space, and you got to recoup by selling the tickets. And I did that. That was the idea that I presented to Brian with his movie, and we pulled it off twice. So if you look at it, 1+1 = 2. Like there's a way out of this for me. It just requires tons and tons of work and time and effort and money. And I have almost all of those. So now I have to go to work and put in the effort because it's been proven time and time again that if I just do it, good things are bound to happen. So that is where we are. You are here on the map, is what I would say. And I do want to talk about the Super Bowl, the woke bowl, as I coined it. I thought it was, I don't like defensive battles. I like points. It would have been nice to see some points, but I kind of knew Drake May was some ass. And look, 23 people voted for that MVP. They're gonna have to answer for that. Darnold had. Thank God for Kenneth Walker. Like we were approaching, kicker might win the MVP of the game moments, but thank God for Kenneth Walker. I still would have given it to Myers because he gave him that lead, and there was a boost. Like they'll never give a kicker an award because kickers aren't people. But it was the halftime show was good, man, and you see we live in such a stupid ass society now that it's not there's nothing. It's manufactured outrage through contrast. Like if you live in a society that can't meet in the middle, you don't live in a society, and that's where we are. Like they're arguing over a problem that they created. Both sides. And it's not like a both sides thing. It's the stubbornness of people on one side to want to feel like they're proving them right. You can't argue with these people because it's not about right or wrong with them. It's just about being heard. If you give them an opportunity to argue back, that's all they give a fuck about. Because then they could just turn it into, you're dumb woke leftist. Like Bad Bunny's the number one superstar in the world. How can you argue with that? But they'll find a way. And then they'll find a way to manufacture this contrast of ideals so they can continue their grift. That's all this shit is, man. It's just a big grift. People are it's the main reason that I was hesitant to start a podcast or continue to do long form content. People are just pushing bullshit on the masses with no regard, no ethics, no integrity. Like when I started school as a psych major, and then I met Dr. Chad Pulver, the hardest motherfucking professor in the history of mankind. I had class with, I think, 4 or 5 of my teammates. 2 of my classmates or my teammates graduated with like a 3.9 and a 3.8. And in Pulver's class, they had like a 52%. So if they had a 52%, imagine what I had. I slept in class, I missed classes, didn't go most times. So they dropped out, I think it was a few weeks before the midterm. I dropped out at the midterm. But once I got into that, or once I got past that, I had to make a choice because I had a 1.7 at semester. And to stay eligible, you got to have a 2.0. So I went into mass communications. I went undeclared first. I took a bunch of classes to kind of get my GPA up. I was in PE. We did archery. I think those were classes that they didn't affect or count towards the GPA, but I had to have a full schedule. But I had a 1.7 a semester, and the hardest class I had that second semester was Intro to Criminal Justice with Professor Paul Magro. I was in the same class with the two teammates that dropped out of Pulver's class, and I was like, it's the first time that I ever asked for help because in high school I didn't study. Like we're like de-education still in the state of Michigan. I took I think I took the honors math, science I was decent, English is why I'm struggling now. I can't speak a lick of English. I'm like the people on the right now. Speak English. English I took that was like the regular course. I think my senior year I went down to the regular course. I was in the, I don't want to call them the advanced classes. Oh no, I might have took remedial English, but science, like I was good at. I'm a visual learner. I was good at math, science, things that I could see. But English, horrible. If I ever used a comma or a semicolon or colon, it's a guess. But, I had to ask for help. And it was the first time ever they did like a study group. I got a good memory, so I would come up with a mnemonic device like Michael Scott, and it helped me become a better student because I took the onus upon myself to go out and ask for help, and there was a group of us, and they would pick me up and they would encourage me when I got something wrong, or they gave me another way to look at things. And I think that's a lesson that we need to take today, is that we're better together. And that's a lot of what the Woke Bowl is about, but it's nothing that you can convey to these people because they have a grift and they have an agenda in mind. So it's never going to be good enough, and you're not going to beat them over the head with it. They're going to come to terms with it when they've milked the cow dry. Right now, the cow is being against the radical woke left, minorities, and anything that doesn't serve them. So you gotta know what battles to fight. And I implore you to not fight the battle of stupidity, because you're gonna play to your competition and you're gonna lose, because there is no way to win that. And that's what the Woke Bowl was about. We got a defensive battle that most people will write off as a bad Super Bowl, but the Seahawks dominated. Like, it was a battle of defense. Like, you can reframe it however you want. I like good defense. There were a couple pick sixes. I got ammo to talk about Drake May for the next year, and Sam Darnold is still Sam Darnold. So the Rams will be in the Super Bowl next year. And it's all good, no matter what. But, you know, with everything that comes with this, you have to understand that it's not a me thing, it's not a you thing, it's an us thing. That's cold. I'm going to leave it with that. I appreciate you guys that were popping in and out. If you can, you know, drop a line in the comments, share this with somebody. I am going to show you the trailer for Teo, and then we're going to end it, and I'll see you guys. Do I have the trailer for Teo? Where is it at? Actually, I got to show you guys the draft process because I am going to make a habit of that. So we got, this is my next project, the draft process. Good night, everybody.